We all want more freedom, and a lot of us work hard now in the hope we'll feel free later. What if there was another way? A way to feel happier, more free, and confident to get better results right now. Welcome to Your Freedom Unlimited, where we share practical stories and strategies to help you show up authentically, drop your fears, and take inspired action on what matters most to you. I'm your host, Jen Ramsey. As a coach with a love for metaphysics, science, spirituality, and strategies that get results, I'll help you step away from self-doubt and create a powerful new story for your life, business, or career. Join me. Hey everyone, Jen Ramsey here with this week's episode of Your Freedom Unlimited. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. So this week, we're going to be talking about cultivating a gratitude attitude. So gratitude attitude, that could be a really great slogan for a cute t-shirt. But what could a truly conscious shift to a gratitude attitude do to help us to feel more happy, confident, and free in ourselves, and perhaps a little less anxious and self-doubting? Well, from my perspective, a lot. How do I know this? Well, I've experienced it myself. I've seen it shift others incredibly, and the science tells us this too. A Harvard Medical School article says that in positive psychology research, gratitude is strongly and consistently associated with greater happiness. But what I'm talking about here is something much more deep than positive thinking, affirmations, or the idea of faking it till you make it. Today, I really want to talk about gratitude and how it can really help make a huge shift in our lives. And because for me, having a gratitude attitude is one of the master frequencies that I believe are essential to helping us live much happier lives. When we consciously shift to this frequency of gratitude, our lives can truly change for the better. A big call, I know, but in my experience, it's absolutely true. This morning, I was just reviewing my life over the last couple of years, and I was looking at the role that gratitude has played in that shift in my life. It hasn't been all of it, but I tell you what, it's been a huge component of that shift in my life. And the interesting thing is that getting deeply into this benefit, the beneficial components of gratitude, it's actually a very easy thing to do once we know what we're looking for and once we become attuned to this as a master frequency. So, how do we create a gratitude attitude? Well, firstly, it's about feeling grateful for what we have right now, rather than wishing things were better or different to how they are right now. It's also about finding something to be grateful for, even in a difficult time. What I find interesting is the lack of a gratitude attitude can often come from this feeling that we aren't good enough or that we don't have enough. And back in episode 2, I speak about this in quite a bit of detail. But to recap very quickly today, I just want to ask you a question, or a couple of questions. How many times a day or a week do you say to yourself, oh, I don't have enough money to do that, or oh, I'd love to do that, but I just don't have enough time, or yeah, I'll get around to that later, and then you never actually get around to doing that thing that you'd like to do? All of this is around feeling that we don't have enough, or we don't have enough time or money, or we don't have enough. The fascinating thing though is that when we look at the bigger picture of our lives and our society, we actually have a lot, particularly in the West. I'm speaking probably here about developed countries on the planet right now, rather than obviously those that are still developing. But when we look at our world right now, we are one of the richest civilizations ever to have walked this planet. Most of us in the West, not all, but most of us in the West have access to food, shelter, heating, and clothing. We can educate our children, and in non-COVID times, we can go pretty much where we want. We can catch up with our family and friends, and we can travel. We really are living the lives of kings and queens of centuries gone by. But oftentimes we don't seem to see this, and I know that was certainly true of me. For a long time, I seemed to focus on the opposite. I thought I never had enough time or money or health or relationships, and then that I had to strive and struggle to keep what I had so that I could be safe and secure in the future. And I know I'm not alone in this. I know, and I hear people talk all the time, and it's this whole need to find this safety and security sometime in the future that keeps us sort of grasping and looking for something when really we have so much here now, right here in the right now, if we could only just look at it. You might have heard me talk on other podcasts about doing a real 21st century upgrade to the way that we use our mind. And this is what I'm talking about. I'm really talking about consciously shifting our perspective, consciously shifting the way we choose to approach our lives in every single moment. And having a gratitude attitude is a major part of this. Why is that? Well, let's just look back at the science quickly for a minute. Neuroscience tells us that our brains are wired to look at the negative. So what that means is that, and that's because we want to keep ourselves safe. So what that means is that we can often have this negativity bias. We're looking to keep ourselves safe, so we're on the lookout for what could happen. So if we know that about our brains, and if we know that in our modern society, that saber-toothed tiger is not going to walk around the corner when we're not under a big threat in that way, we need to start working with our brains in a different way. We need to compensate for that negativity bias and start to look for things that we can be grateful for. And this is where gratitude comes in. The second thing, if we look at this purely from a scientific perspective, from a quantum physics perspective, it's very clear that the observer affects the observed. The experiments show this time and time again. So what that means is we've got to be really, really careful about what we focus on, because what we focus on is what we're going to get. So I think about that old saying of we reap what we sow. It's really true. We really do reap what we sow. This is why gratitude is so vital, and this is why I have called it one of the master frequencies that I teach in my Freedom Unlimited program. When we see the truth of what we have, and when we see the abundance of what we have right now, and we have gratitude for it, then everything can change. Remember those kings and queens I was talking about? We are those people. We have got so much right now. We just have to focus on that. So just for a moment, just think about perhaps something in your current area right now, wherever you are listening to this podcast. What can you be grateful for right now? And it can be something as simple as having water to drink. I've got a water glass by me with some water and the air we have to breathe. These are things we can be grateful for. I'm not talking about having to do a major thing for that, or do a major achievement to have gratitude. I'm talking about having gratitude for the very simple things in life. And, as we have these gratitude for these simple things, then it just grows and expands and expands. So these things that I'm talking about to be grateful for, they're much larger, and they don't necessarily involve money. For me, one of the people that I'm incredibly grateful for in my life is my very, very dear friend Lynn. She is like a second mother to me. And she came into my life when I really needed the support of a gorgeous soul like her. We met about 6 or 7 years ago, and it was at a time when I was feeling very lonely because my own beautiful mother had been unwell for many years with dementia. And if you've listened to this podcast before, you know that she transitioned very beautifully and very gracefully in 2019. But over those years that she was ill, there were a lot of years that I missed my own mum very deeply. And I was quite lonely for someone that I could connect with and that I could ask questions of and that I could connect with to hear an older woman's wisdom. So I feel teary as I share this with you, but I feel so grateful that I met Lynn and that she and I found each other and that we have become such dear, dear and such close friends. So this is about having gratitude for things beyond the money, but all of those things in our life that really create this very rich experience of our lives. And that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about moving beyond the positive thinking and the affirmations. When we start looking deeply for this real richness in our lives, it is really there. And it is a really powerful frequency that we can really tap into. And then when we tap into this master frequency of gratitude, it will really grow. Our lives will grow and expand when we feel so much gratitude for the things that are in our lives right now. And again, this is not just me talking. The science is extremely clear on this. That same article from Harvard Medical School said, gratitude helps people feel more positive emotions, to relish good experiences, to improve their health, to deal with adversity, and to build strong relationships. So it's a really, really powerful frequency, and I really encourage you to start developing more gratitude. And you may have a lot of gratitude already in your life, but if you'd like to create even more, let's talk a bit about that now. How can we create an even deeper attitude of gratitude? Well, the first thing is to let go of any old stories that don't serve us. As I've said on previous podcasts, we tell ourselves thousands of stories every day about ourselves and our lives. And a lot of these are not so great. They can be quite self-critical, quite judging, and quite negative. And a lot of them can be about what we do not have. And when I look back over my history, I remember particularly one of my stories about that has not served me has been my story about not having children of my own. And that's a whole other big story that I'll share one day. But certainly I went through a very dark period where I was focused on what I did not have as opposed to what I did have. And I have a very loving family around me, and I have got some very beautiful stepsons in my life. So I am very, very grateful for them. But while I had that old story of what I didn't have, I went into a very negative, dark state. So I really had to let that go, and I completely have. And I am so grateful for what I do have in my life. And I have so many beautiful people around me and a beautiful, loving family that I focus on with all of my heart, really. That's a big focus for me. But aside from my experience, one of my other heroes is Nelson Mandela. And when he left prison after 27 years of incarceration, he said this. He said, "As I walked out the door toward the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison." Here is someone who chose to tell a very new story about his experience in prison. And I truly believe that if he had not let go of that old story that didn't serve him, there is no way he could have done what he did for his people in South Africa and really for the world as a whole. While he was wonderful for South Africa, he was an incredible role model for the rest of the world. So this is an opportunity we've all got. We can all think about these stories that we tell ourselves. And what if we turn those stories around? What if we chose to find the gratitude in that story? And what if we chose to live from that perspective rather than from the negative? So if you want to understand more about what I mean when I'm talking about the stories that we tell ourselves, go back and have a listen to episode 12. But for now, let's keep talking about gratitude. And it also came to me this morning that gratitude is a very powerful currency for our lives. It has an incredible power to it. And it's a frequency, as I said, it's this master frequency that we can really experience and we can really work with. Because when I'm talking about master frequencies, I'm really wanting you to think about how you can harness this frequency in your life and how can you use it and how can you bring gratitude into your life on an hourly basis. And what I'd like to say here is that gratitude is this very powerful currency because it's extremely useful in the hard times as well as the good times. So in the good times, it really does help us to remember the great things, and it amplifies what's been great in our day or our week or an experience we might have had with our family. But it's also something that's incredibly powerful that we can use when times are not so good. I've found it can really light up the darkest moment and the most difficult situations that I've been in. And that's why I consider gratitude is a real master frequency, because it's something that we can call upon in really difficult times. It can help to soothe us in these difficult times, and it helps us come to this place of calm where more inspiration and more options might be available to us. So this is its power. And I think it's really underutilized in difficult times. So if you're not quite getting me, what do I mean when I'm talking about this in difficult times? What does that look like in practice? Well, just yesterday, interestingly, just as I'm preparing for this episode, I had a very difficult moment. I actually had a very difficult afternoon that went on into the evening. So yesterday was the end of a very long day after a series of many other long days. And the fact of the matter is that I am maxing things out at the moment. I have got a lot on with my family, with my business, and on top of all of that, I'm also doing my yoga teacher training. So there's a lot on right now. And at the end of a very long day yesterday, I had a couple of difficult and quite unexpected situations to contend with and some decisions that had to be made. And all of that left me feeling extremely exhausted. And I've found when I'm exhausted, it's not a great space for me to be in. When I'm tired, I'm just not at my best. And yesterday wasn't great. I really went into this place of questioning everything. I'm not sure if you've ever had a day like that or an afternoon or a moment like that where you're questioning everything. And I went into quite a low space. So what did I do? I rang my beautiful friend Lynn to have a chat because she is wonderful and she listens to me always with love. And of course she did yesterday afternoon. But then I asked her about her day. I thought, I've had enough of me. Let's hear about your day. I knew she'd been to the doctor for a checkup for her heart, so it was an important thing to ask about. And the great news was that her news was really, really good. Her doctor was really pleased with her progress, and he felt that she was in a great place overall with her health. She still has to be careful, but she's in a great place. And you know what? In that moment, everything shifted. I was so happy and so grateful that she had had a great report. The gratitude came at her news, and that gratitude that I felt, it was like this brilliant shaft of sunlight slicing through a very dark storm cloud. And it took the focus completely away from my situation, and it really energized me, and it really lifted me up for the rest of the evening. So there was a lot of learnings that I actually got from that moment. I've really been thinking about it a lot overnight. And the deeper learning for me here was that the shift came from my gratitude at hearing Lynn's news, not from, I'll feel better if I do a download about my day on her. And I have to say, I'm really careful now about doing the download thing anywhere or to anyone, because I strongly believe that repeating my negative story to anyone does not serve me, and it certainly does not serve them. It can really just perpetuate things. And what I realized now after that event, that I was actually inspired to call Lynn so that I could hear her good news, and that could spark my gratitude and lift me up. It was quite a shift. So, a gratitude, working with our gratitude as a frequency can be as simple as that. All I needed to do was to look around and find something to be grateful for in a difficult moment. Very often I find I can do that for myself. But in that moment, after a particularly tough afternoon, it came from my inspiration to call Lynn, and I am so glad that I did. The other point I really wanted to make here was that I didn't need to find something in my life to be grateful for. I actually found some gratitude for something else going on for someone else, and that was a really nice thing to realize as well. So it doesn't always have to be something great going on in our lives. We can just look around to someone else in our life and have gratitude for something good for them, and that can lift us up. So that's what I wanted to share with you this week. And so next time you're feeling a little low, why not try on this aspect of gratitude? Why not look around for what there is to be grateful for? Because it really does work. But before I close today, I just wanted to share with you how to create a daily ritual to build your gratitude muscle, your gratitude attitude. Because if this gratitude is a master frequency, which I truly believe it is, how can we create a daily practice and ritual to really help ground some of it into our lives. Firstly, understanding the power of gratitude is the first step. And as I said earlier, this is much, much more than positive thinking or affirmations. It's a much deeper and a much more devoted practice. So what are some steps that you could use to create a devoted daily gratitude practice in your life, a daily gratitude ritual? Well, the first one is to meditate on what you are grateful for. Just taking some time daily to actually meditate on that. And if you'd like to access my gratitude attitude meditation and worksheet, you can email me at hello@jenramsey.com to get a copy of that. So that's our first step. Meditate on what you're grateful for. Our second step is to write a list of 50 things you are grateful for right now. Not something you want in the future, but 50 things you want right now. And when you're writing that list, I'd like to ask you to use a pen and a piece of paper, rather than using your laptop. There's a specific reason for that. When we're writing by hand, we're really connecting in with our subconscious and our unconscious mind, and we're really starting to find out what is important to us. So that's why I'd like to encourage you to use a pen and paper to write 50 things that you're grateful for. The third thing is to build a daily gratitude practice. Just list 10 things every day that you're grateful for, and do that every day for the next 90 days. This is really about creating new neural pathways and getting your brain to be working in a different way. So every day for the next 90 days, just list down 10 things that you're grateful for. They don't need to be huge things. We're not talking about you having to climb Mount Everest here. We're just talking about 10 things that you can be truly grateful for every day. And then the fourth step is every day, just witness how your feelings of gratitude are opening up new and positive thoughts about yourself and your life. It's amazing. As you start to cultivate this deeper feeling of gratitude, it will start to open up other positive things in your life. And if you're a journaler like me, you can add this to your daily practice list or journal it every morning. So just doing some of that thinking will really help embed this notion of deep gratitude into your life. And as I said, if you'd like access to my gratitude attitude meditation and worksheet, just email me at hello@jenramsey.com and I'll be really pleased to send that to you. And if you're finding this is something you'd like to dig more into, if you'd like to do some coaching in this space with me, you can contact me anytime. Just visit jenramsey.com/discovery, and you can book a discovery call with me to check and chat about what your needs are and how we might be able to work together. And if you'd like some free coaching on this, then listen in. If you're listening in August or September of 2020, you can enter my competition for the chance to win a 90-minute coaching session with me where we can really focus on what you want to focus on so that you can perhaps look at your old story and create a brand new story for your life. I'm giving one session away, one in August and one in September, and both of those are valued at $250. So to get your chance to win, all you need to do is to subscribe, rate, and review Your Freedom Unlimited on Apple Podcasts. To enter, just visit jenramsey.com/win, and that'll give you all of the directions and what you need to do to subscribe and rate and review. And if you've already subscribed, rated, and reviewed us on Apple Podcasts, then you're already in the competition. Just email me your proof that you've done it at hello@jenramsey.com. So I'd like to say thank you so much again for joining me today. I truly believe a daily gratitude practice is a vital step to finding more freedom in your life. What I've found is combining this with the other master frequencies that I've been talking about, when you combine all of them together, you're really going to be on the path to really develop a much happier, more confident and free life so that you can do the things that really matter most to you. So if you'd like to learn more about that, please keep tuning into future episodes where I'll be sharing much more on our master frequencies and much more on how to really do what matters most to you. So until we speak again, please take great care, and I'll look forward to talking with you soon. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Your Freedom Unlimited. If you like this show, please share it with a friend. And if you haven't already, subscribe, rate, and review Your Freedom Unlimited on your favourite podcast player. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, you can reach me directly at jenramsey.com. Thanks for listening.